Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the A-Pod. I am Arda Ocal, and this podcast is all about fun chats, fun topics with fun people. And thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out this podcast. I really appreciate the fact that you've gone out of your way to subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, checking it out on msgnetworks.com. And it's been a blast. I'm really enjoying bringing these conversations to you. Some of the past interview subjects have included Rob Karpelis, who is a lawyer with the Florida Panthers, and he moonlights as the WWE Creative _ish parody account on Twitter, my favorite parody account on the internet. You can check out that podcast, as well as Pete Canarozzi, organist of the New Jersey Devils. That one is up on iTunes as well. We're going to keep the music theme for this one, and you may or may not know this about me, but I am a big fan of heavy metal. The louder and the more harsh the music is, the more I love it. Imagine the type of music that would get your blood going at the gym, give you that strength for an extra rep, whether you're doing a bicep curl or a bench press or a squat or a deadlift. Whatever it is, that type of music just really gets me going. I enjoy it. That adrenaline pumping type of music. I love thrash metal, like super fast. Love it, absolutely love it. And yeah, I'm a big metalhead, big fan. Obviously a big fan of Metallica, one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band of all time. But they're the easy pick, aren't they? As far as heavy metal goes, but they're also the fathers at this point, the grandfathers. Maybe not the grandfathers, that's a little too old, but you know, the fathers of heavy metal. Deservedly so. Get the credit as being one of the greatest bands of all time, have stood the test of time. They even played at the Grammys this year, and they're amazing. I cannot wait to go to their concert in May. These days, Metallica only does a stadium tour. So when they come to the New York area, they're going to play MetLife Stadium. When they go to Toronto, they play Rogers Center. They don't play the arenas anymore because they've outgrown the arenas. They now play the stadiums, and they do stadium tours, and they go around the world. And I think Metallica's the only band to have played a concert on every single continent in the world. If you haven't checked it out, I forget the name of the concert, but they played a concert for like 150 scientists and contest winners in Antarctica, which is awesome. What a cool experience that would have been. And it explains it. I think it's on YouTube. I think the full concert's on YouTube. I think it was like a Coca-Cola sponsored event. But you actually see in the video that they couldn't play their music with full amplification because they didn't want to disrupt the snowbanks and create an avalanche or a snowfall or anything like that. So they had to play in this custom created dome, and they also had everybody wearing headphones. So that's how they enjoyed this Metallica concert in Antarctica, was through headphones. And I think even Lars Ulrich, the drummer, he had this special padding on his drumsticks so that it wouldn't create too much of a reverberation or noise that would cause any sort of disruption to the snow. So that was really interesting. Definitely go out of your way to check it out. If you're a fellow metalhead like me, you've probably already seen it, but you got to check it out. So a band that I checked out that is also the subject of this podcast is a band called Stray from the Path. I will be honest with you, I hadn't heard much about them. I know they've been around for a very long time. They are based in Long Island. They are a Long Island band, and they tour all over the place. We get into it in the podcast with Thomas Williams, who is the drummer and one of the originating founders of Stray from the Path. He's got a very interesting story, and he is a very proud Long Islander, but a very passionate New York Rangers fan. And when I say passionate, I mean passionate. I loved talking with Tom about the Rangers and music and hockey in general. He is a very knowledgeable hockey fan. And it was really cool to talk to him about hockey and how much hockey impacts his life and how important it is to him. All you need to hear about is his jersey collection, and he'll have you hooked in terms of his interest level in hockey. And if you share that passion in hockey, you're going to love this conversation. If you love music, you're going to enjoy this conversation as well, because we get into the ins and outs of how musicians make money these days and what they need to do to succeed. If you've ever been curious about the life of a touring musician, this is a good podcast to listen to as well. One of the things we get to, I didn't mention this to him in the podcast, but I want to tell you a story, is that in my heyday of metalhead fandom, I did go to a lot of concerts. I don't go to as many as I wish I could these days, but I definitely did, particularly in my high school days. I went to a lot of concerts, a lot of festivals. And one of them, this was growing up in Toronto, one of them was a yearly festival just outside of Toronto in a city called Barrie, and it was called Edgefest. I'm not sure if it still goes on these days. I know that it has in recent years. I don't know if it's still around, but it definitely was a huge festival. I think it was a Canada Day festival, in fact, every single year in the late 90s. Sorry, I drank some coffee. That's going to happen throughout this podcast a lot, by the way. I'm going to be drinking a lot of coffee because I do. I probably drink way too much coffee. Anyway, so one of the acts was Tool, and I'm a big Tool fan. I play the bass, and usually a Tool song or two, Schism, for example, I'll always pick up a bass and just play a riff from Tool. Like I said, Schism is an example of that. I just love Tool and what they do with riffs, and Maynard James Keenan, great singer. Just the whole band is something I gravitated to it in my high school years. So they played Edgefest one year, and I found myself in the mosh pit. I definitely have frequented a mosh pit or two in my life. Definitely willing to admit that. And I probably more than not ended up worse for wear when I got out of the mosh pit than when I went in. One particular time, this was during the Tool mosh pit, there was a guy, he was probably twice my size. Now, I was a fat kid growing up, and I'm not ashamed by that. This is not a self-body shaming thing by any stretch of the imagination. I just want to give you guys context. But I lost a lot of weight in the 11th grade, and this concert was probably around that time. So I was very skinny. I got really skinny around that time, and there was a guy twice my size. And when I mean twice my size, I mean muscle. He was a muscular dude, and he was wearing a tank top, and you could tell he was in it to win it in that mosh pit. He meant business. And so I don't know why I decided to do this. I definitely was not drinking. I was completely sober going into that mosh pit, as I was with every mosh pit that I went into at that time in my life. 100% sober. At that time, didn't drink a sip of alcohol, so I was 100% conscious of what I was about to do. Tool, I'm pretty sure the song was either Sober. Yeah, I think it was Sober. So everybody was hyped up because that's one of their more famous songs. And so I decide I'm going to get into the mosh pit. And not only that, but after I jump around a little bit, I'm going to take a run at this guy. Not to try and, start something, because that's not what that mosh pit was about. But just to bump into him. If you hear sirens, I think there's a fire truck. I'm at the MSG Network studios recording this right now, and it's in the middle of Manhattan, so you can imagine that there's going to be a lot of sirens going off, so I apologize for that. But anyway, I make a run at this guy, and he sees me out of the corner of his eye, so he turns towards me. And I don't know if he thought that I wanted to crowd surf or whatever it was, but he decided to duck. And as soon as my body hit his shoulders, he lifted me in the air. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, imagine a back body drop. Imagine being propelled in the air and flipping in the air and landing. I think I landed on my shoulder and my neck. I think it definitely did not do a flat back landing. I was in the air, and it was like slow motion, because the funny thing is that he pushed me into the air, but there wasn't anybody I was going to land on. All I could see was complete open grass. And I was like, this is not going to be good. So I landed on my shoulder and my head, and miraculously, I avoided injury. But the coolest part of this story is, after I landed, I got up, and he walked towards me, and he patted me on the shoulder, and he was like, "Hey, you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, that was awesome." And he gave me a fist bump, a fist bump, and then we just continued watching the concert. And that was probably the highlight and or low light of my mosh pit days. But it just brought back memories going to the Stray from the Path concert, because at least from when I was in mosh pits, they've definitely changed. What I noticed, we talk about this a little bit in the interview, but the behavior of people in mosh pits has definitely changed. I don't know if it's a regional thing, or I don't know if it's a generational thing, but I compared it to that scene in The Simpsons. If you remember, Bart and Lisa, they're about to get into a fight, and Bart's swinging his arms in like a clockwise motion. I'm going to swing my arms like this, and if you get in my way, then it's not my problem. And then Lisa's like, well, I'm going to kick the air like this, and if you get in my way, it's not my problem. And then they sort of like walk towards each other very slowly in the inevitable like physical contact that would be made in that situation. That's what it reminded me of. There were people that were like windmilling their arms, but then there were these acrobatic kicks. It was like capoeira style roundhouse kicks being thrown in the mosh pit, and it wasn't directed towards anybody. It was just to thin air. It was like people were shadow boxing with themselves, or just again in front of a mirror. It was fascinating. It's just a fascinating human observation. And then the people that were sort of, I guess, creating the human wall around the mosh pit, or the open area where people would mosh, it wasn't always full. Sometimes it was just a big empty space. But the people that didn't want to get hit, because sometimes people would have their elbows up that were moshing, people would just extend their arms in a fist and leave the arm out there. So as if to say, if you get too close to me, your face is going to land on my fist, and that's not my problem, because I'm just protecting myself. I'm just here to enjoy the concert, and this is where I'm happen to be standing. And if you run into my fist, well, lesson learned. It just made me laugh. Yeah, so shout out to the people that enjoyed that Stray from the Path concert, and shout out to the people that were in the mosh pit, because you guys were in it to win it, and I appreciated that. So I had a chance to talk with Tom Williams. As I mentioned, he is our guest on the podcast this week, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great conversation. We did it backstage, so if you notice some extracurricular sound, it's because the Architects, the band after Stray from the Path that night, were playing on stage. So you can hear some bass, you can hear some drums. You'll definitely notice some background noise. But here it is, our conversation with Thomas Williams, who is one of the founding members and guitarist and vocalist for Stray from the Path. So here we are, Gramercy Theater, backstage, sitting in a locker room. Band is on stage. If you hear the music behind us, it's because the Architects are on stage right now. Yep. Stray from the Path just had their concert. How did it go? How do you feel about the show tonight?
It was sick.
Yeah.
We played yesterday. Today was sold out. It sold out 2 months ago. Then we put on the show yesterday, and that show was on sale for 2 months and only did it still did a good amount of tickets, but the kids that came were just not so enthusiastic as today. So yesterday everyone got off stage and we're like, what the hell was that? And then today we went up and it was like, that's a New York show. So everyone's feeling good today. So it was good.
What
really
do you think
good
that
show.
was?
Well, because like I said to you before we started this, Architects put it this way: the people that bought the tickets right away and this show sold out right away were the people that are dying to be here. And the people that bought them yesterday casually were the people that are what they called the back of the room, like the people that just chill with a beer and watch the band. So we played yesterday and everyone was just staring at us, which is not a normal Stray show. Stray shows is jumping and stage diving and crowd surfs and singing along. None of that yesterday. So it was so weird. And we have 4 shows left. This tour's been great. So yeah, it's been good.
I noticed a couple things about the mosh pit. I watched the whole show. I thought it was a blast. Big metal fan. Love the. I want to get into the music process in a little bit, but I want to talk about a couple people that I noticed in the mosh pits.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'm not that old, I'm
No.
mid-30s, but like
Yeah.
back in the day when I was in mosh pits, you know, there'd be people bumping into each other.
Yeah.
Two guys in particular. One of them I call Simpsons guy, who was like wailing his arms like this, like, you know,
Okay.
I'm gonna throw my arms like this,
Yeah.
and if you get close to me, you know that whole Bart and Lisa thing.
Yeah.
Is that common? Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, you know what's weird? As the band has moved on, like when we started, we've been going for a long time. You know, we started touring full time in 2008, and then since 2008 to 2012 or 13, no one cared. Like we were just, I like to say, I don't know if this sounds arrogant, but I hope it doesn't, but we were ahead of our time. Like people didn't get it, and the bands that were big at the time were confusingly big. I didn't even understand. And then, so it took us a while to get there, but we believed in the music and we stuck with it. And through that time, once like the 2010 to 13, that's all people did. They would like throw in their arms and hitting people and stuff, which some places we go to, it's weird because it changes culture everywhere we go. We go upstate New York or New York City or at Long Island, whatever, people like to mosh hard, you know, and they hit each other. That's just, they like that. That's what they do. But then we go to places where one kid does that and then hits someone the wrong way and starts a fight and like that. But now, from like 2015 to now, it's been pretty chill and there hasn't been a lot of fights or pitting. Like honestly, now most of the people are up front. Everyone's jumping, stage diving, crowd surfing, you know, fun stuff, singing along. Like that's what I like now. Like we still write like the heavy breakdown kind of stuff because they're fun, but I like mosh pits and stuff, but it's just low on the totem pole of like what I want to see at a Stray show. So, but I guess that's if you had a better, like me, I'm gonna look at everyone in front.
Well,
Everyone
I wanted to know if you noticed that because there was also guys that were really acrobatic, like they were doing these Bruce Lee type kicks.
Yeah. People do
I was
that.
like, that's impressive more than anything.
Especially in New York, people do that. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's weird, but.
So speaking of New York, you grew up here?
Grew up in Long Island.
On Long Island.
Suffolk County. My dad's a big Rangers fan because my dad is obviously older, and I don't know. I just became a Rangers fan by default. You know, like a lot of people do because of their parents. But in the '90s, the Rangers were the coolest team ever. You know, so. And then it got dark in the early 2000s, you know. But so yeah, not an Islander fan. Grew up in Long Island though, Suffolk County, and now I live in Los Angeles for the past 3 years, you know. But love New York, but I had to move on. You know, it's something different.
So you were old enough to remember '94 then. So take me through that. Take me through the playoffs. Where did you watch the games? Where were you when they won?
For sure. I mean, I was just sitting. I was with my dad, my brother. And we're watching the only thing I do remember is my brother freaking out about the Rangers winning. That's like a vivid memory. I could see it like it was yesterday kind of thing. My brother's older than me. But like I can remember the Matteau goal. I remember the guarantee. I remember the newspaper of the guarantee, you know.
So what did you think as a Rangers fan when you read that?
I was just like, who does that? Like what kind, like at 7 years old, I'm like, he said he's going to win before the game started? You know, I was just like, and my dad's like, yep. That's Moose. And I was like, Moose? I was like, you know what I mean? Like,
was your dad confident?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, maybe. My dad's a pretty cynical guy. He's seen some upsetting, you know, my dad is a Met Giant Ranger Knick fan. And particularly with the Mets, I've seen some sad seasons, you know.
Really?
So he's had his heart broken a lot. But he was just like, yeah, he's like, that's the Moose. And I'm like, okay. And then they won the game. He scored a hat trick. And I'm like, guy said he was going to win, and then he scored a hat trick, and they won. That's nuts. And then, so I don't know, it's just a crazy season. And honestly, what stands out to me the most, like if I had to close my eyes and think about it, besides the Richter save on Bure, is Craig McTavish and no helmet, and 3 seconds left to face off and before Messier does the jump, you know, right before they win. Everyone's celebrating, and McTavish is finishing a check in the corner. I could see that like it was yesterday. It was so crazy. Everyone's celebrating. He's finishing a check. And I was like, that's why they won. Now that I'm older, I could kind of see, like, it's because they had guys like that, you know?
The character guys.
Exactly. No helmet. I could see it like it was yesterday. It's so weird.
So you grew up a Rangers fan.
Yeah.
I actually noticed on stage you have a Messier, what is that, a placard that you have up there?
So it's actually a jersey I had from as a kid. It was like a youth large. That's why it fits like that, you know? But it was, I found it once, and I was like, I got to do something with this. So I cut it up, and I cut the sleeves off, and I cut the back up, and I put Messier, and I put his both 11s and just staple gunned it on. And then, I don't know. I used to have 2 amps that I played at the same time, and I Mike Madonna one, too, from the Stars. Because I found both those jerseys, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make a Madonna one, too, because America hockey, you know, it's Mike Madonna.
Sure.
But then I got rid of that one. I was like, to get the Messier one, and hopefully he sees it one day. Maybe you can get him a picture.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Maybe
Maybe I will. I'll work
Yeah.
on that. So Modano, you were a fan of his growing up as well?
Yeah.
Were you there during the Stars run? Were you sort of secretly
Yeah,
happy to
and
be a
the
Rangers
skate
fan?
and the skate in the crease kind of stuff. Like I remember that, and oops, sorry. Oh, we're just doing a You're cool, do your thing, but I'm just.
Yeah, feel free to go ahead. It's fine. Here,
We're
I'll
in
stand up so you can
architect's
get-
dressing room.
Yeah,
with
no
the
problem.
consent of
Anything can happen.
architects, But
and we're gonna leave this all in too.
yeah, you do it. That's Scotty P. He's from Scotland, and he's ready for WrestleMania tomorrow as well as I. So I don't know. I just like Modano probably because he was in the Mighty Ducks movie, just because I was a kid, you know. So,
Sure.
yeah.
And so, have you noticed this? Whenever you Google if you put Tom Williams Straight from the Path, the first
Never
picture.
done that before in my
You've
life.
never done that.
I swear to God,
So the first thing that comes up is you in a Rangers jersey on stage. The first picture that comes up.
That's sick.
Legit.
It's crazy.
And it's a
because-
McDonough jersey too.
It's from Warped Tour probably then, because I gotta. So I'll get to another thing too. But I love that there is our fans have like a thing now where they know that I love hockey. So like people randomly come up to me at a show in Colorado and be like, "Good set, bro." And I'm like, "Thanks." Trade everyone but McKinnon, right? I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess, rebuild, But people will just come up to me and just start talking hockey from their region because they know I know it. And because I do like the band's Twitter or Instagram and all that, so I'm always commenting people and I'll do weird things like, we're in Pittsburgh today, screw you for booing Yager, like I'll say stuff like that, or like, oh, we're in Chicago, shout out to Corey Crawford, just random stuff. So
it'll be very hockey centric.
Oh yeah, so people will know and they'll come with me and I like that. But that McDonough jersey, it's funny, so I won that was the year of the Winter Classic, and I've lost 2 bets in the history of my life because I bet with friends, and we always bet jerseys. So I'll be like, all right, we'll bet this, blah, blah, and if I win, you got to get me a jersey, and then if you win, I'll get you a jersey. I've only lost twice, and I've probably won about 15 times. And that one was for the Winter Classic against the Flyers because that picture was in Philly against my friend Carl, and I've won like 3 or 4 jerseys from Carl himself, and because they always beat the Flyers, which is sick. And then so I got that McDonough jersey that day, and I wore it. So. And yesterday I wore a Jimmy Vesey jersey on stage too.
Nice.
So, but yeah, where was I going with that?
No, just where that's the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
Am I wrong in saying this? Do you have some hockey-related tattoos too?
Oh, I have a bunch. Yeah,
So-
I have.
We'll try and put some pictures.
Sure.
But
So this is
so
like
I noticed this. Yeah, I saw. So you got a Hawks logo.
Hawks, and I have the Leafs because I'm gonna do an original 6 thing.
Okay.
And then also my first tattoo ever is this on the back.
So
of my
this
calf.
is
it
on
kind of
his
sucks,
ankle.
but it says Mike Richter.
Wow.
35. It's bad tattoo. I just got it in like a garage in Augusta, Georgia. Like weird. I was just like, the guy's like, "Who's Richter? Why do you have a guy on the back?" I'm like, "All right, just put it there." All right. So yeah, that's it. I don't know if.
So you're gonna do the original.
all
6.
the original 6
You're
on
gonna
there.
get
I'm
Red
just-
Wings. You can get Canadians.
Yeah. I've been like working on like this arm stuff, so like I've just been kind of neglecting that, but I'm gonna get to that eventually.
So hockey's
but, yeah.
really like, is hockey your favorite pastime? Is it? Like
Yeah,
it
no
must
doubt.
be if you're getting.
If you walked in my closet, it's so weird too, and I always tell my wife about this, but I used to have dreams of having a closet filled with hockey jerseys, and that's literally what I have now. I have a walk-in closet, and on the left I probably have like 100 hockey jerseys. I probably have like 30 Rangers jerseys.
Wow.
I'm trying to get every team, and the last one I'll ever buy is an Islanders jersey, just to complete the collection. But dude, I have a lot. My whole bathroom is Rangers out. Like, it's funny, I used to live in New York, and my wife let me do, like, I had blue walls, and the top would be a red, white stripe across the top of that. I have an Adam Graves autographed jersey that I met from the toy drive that they do at Bryant Park every year.
Yeah.
So I met him there, and Drew, my singer,
He's
went
the
with
most
me.
charitable guy.
Let me tell you this. I'll tell you this story about Adam Graves. So I go to this charity thing with Drew, our singer, and this was like 2007 or 8, and we put out our first album, Villains. That was like our first big album, like out in stores and whatever, and we were very excited about it and very young. So I was 19. So we go, and my mom bought me. It was like around Christmas, and my mom knew I was going, and my mom bought me a Adam Graves jersey because she knew I was going to meet him. She's like, "Get it signed." I was like, "Oh, so sick." So I go and meet Adam Graves, and we're like, "Yo, like, would you take a picture holding our CD and we'll post it on our thing?" He's like, "I would love to do that." Takes a picture with our CD. He's like, "Man, this is really cool." He's like, "It's like a real thing." I was like, "Yeah." I'm talking to Adam Graves. I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's like a thing. It's in stores and stuff. We're really excited about it." He's like, "Oh, that's cool." It's like, "All right, great." Signs our thing, moves on. I literally left the door I feel someone tap me on the shoulder, turn around, it's Adam Graves. He goes, hey man, I just wanted to say good luck with your band. It looks like you got a good thing going. And I was like, I don't even know what I said to him, but I'm still getting chills thinking about it, because I was like, I grew up watching that guy, you know, and I was like, thanks. And then I left, and I was like with Drew, our singer, and I'm like, can you believe that he just did that? He literally just walked like 50 feet to tell me that. And I was like, he's like, that was crazy. And I was like, that meant so much to me, just because now that I'm older, and now that like I know, not to comparing being in a band to being a hockey player, but it is kind of similar. It's like, if I go out there, some kids will want to talk to me. Maybe it's not on the extent of Adam Graves, but it's like, I just know that what effort goes into remembering stuff like that. And now I always do that. Like, I'll meet a kid, like, hey, like, Tom, I'm like, oh, you're Jack, right? And they're like, yeah. Like, how do you know that? I was like, oh, I talked hockey with you last time. And they're like, wow. Like, and I just, so now I make an effort that when people really care about my band, like I care about Adam Graves, he made that little effort that was such a lasting impression on me. And I was just like, I want to do that. I want to be that guy, because he's literally a legend, on and off the ice, you know. And like, dude, sometimes when I'm talking about these stories, I feel like maybe it's kind of sad that I like hockey this much. But there's two.
No way, shape, or form is it sad.
I hope so. But because there's two things that I actually do that I don't even really tell a lot of people this. But there's two things I do whenever I feel like I'm a very happy person. I have a wife that I've been with for 12 years since high school.
Wow.
Never been with anyone else. Like, I have a band that is doing very well, that I'm with all my best friends, that, you know, like, I have a very good life. But when, everyone gets in like a funk, and if I ever feel bad, I watch two videos that I have on my phone. And it's Marty St. Louis scoring that goal against the Canadiens over Tokarski's shoulder in overtime. I watched that. I could show you. And then Brian Leach telling Adam Graves they're retiring his number. And those two, like, make me just feel way better. It's so strange, but I just do that.
Pull up the video. Let's pull up the video.
Yeah,
I know this is an audio podcast, but
I'm gonna put it in my microphone.
Your emotion. Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna put it in my microphone. And I've watched this clip of it's St. Louis, Richards, and Hagelin. All of them are gone, which Carl Hagelin being gone destroyed me. But at least Kevin Hayes kind of proved me wrong, because he's playing good this year. And in my bag, I actually have, because like I said, I buy jerseys from every team. I have a Penguins Hagelin jersey with me, because I just love him so much. Okay, I found this one. So I'll show you. Watch St. Louis right here.
Yep.
Watch him turn away. Right here. Turns away, goes into position where no one's there. Now Hagelin knows he's there.
Far away from the play.
It just, and then everyone mobbing him. This is when his mom died. Like, it was just.
What a moment. I love the, you mentioned Ed Olczyk. I'm putting together this piece for just random Stanley Cup stories.
Yeah.
The famous one in '94, where he took the Stanley Cup trophy to Belmont Park, and he fed the Kentucky Derby horse winner out of the cup.
Out of the cup? I don't think I knew that. That's cool.
He fed, I forget the name of Gopher Gin, I think the name of the horse was, and he fed the horse food out of the Stanley Cup.
That's cool.
The following year was the first year that they hired a keeper of the cup to basically follow the cup around. And then even
3 years ago before that was, I know, the Mario Lemieux, like, it got like stuck in the deep end of the pool and all that stuff. So he's like, all right, get the guy with the gloves. Like, we got to have someone guarding this thing, because people are chucking it in the pool and giving it to horses, which is awesome. But
so I was reading online as well. So does this happen often, where you're playing a gig and there's a story online about you playing a gig while a Rangers game was on, and you were sort of watching the game out of the corner of your eye as you're playing.
Yeah, sometimes
so
if it's a big game. Yeah. And I've done this with the Mets too.
So you're a big Mets fan as well?
I'm a big Mets fan. I like the Yankees as well. I still watch the Devils and Islanders all the time. I watch as much as I can. I will have it on my phone, or I'll even sometimes I prop my computer up, and I'll be playing. I'll literally look back and check what's going on and just have it playing, because it's like, look, I love Stray and playing music more than anything, but it's like, if it's like a playoff round or a big game, I'm gonna watch it. If it's playing the Wild, the game 61, like I'll catch it in the third. But missing a game destroys me. It just throws my game off. Throws my day off.
So will you be playing? You said you only have 4 shows left on this tour, but will you be playing any shows during the playoffs this year?
It depends on how low they get, how far they get. We go to Europe on May 28th to June 12th.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, that works though, because in Europe, it's like 1 a.m.
Oh,
so
right,
I'm done. And I stay up every time. I'm home for the first, second, and most of the third round, so that's good.
So you're on your phone there. I noticed that your background image is of Mr. Lundqvist.
It is, and I also have a Connor McDavid case because not to be a poser, but I like Connor McDavid. I mean, he's sick. But
How can you not though?
Exactly, but it's just like now it's like everyone likes him, but I still love him. But yeah, I have that.
You have Hank right there,
on
nice.
the back.
Is he your favorite current Ranger?
He's my favorite Ranger of all time.
Of all time?
Over Messier.
Even over Messier.
Here's the thing. So I'm gonna tell a story, and this meant a lot to me too. So you know We Bleed Blue?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know Violent Gentlemen?
I do.
Okay.
It's a clothing brand.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're hockey related. Now, one of my good friends, his name's Hammer. His name's
Are
Mike.
they based in LA?
They're based out of Orange County.
Orange County.
So his name's Mike Hammer. He is a co-owner of them. So remember I told you the jersey bets? This is a good story. So I forget what year it is, but the playoffs where they went down 3-1 against the Capitals. I made a post online when it was 3-1. I said the Rangers are winning this series. I could document this for anyone that needs to see it. The Rangers are winning this series. Everyone, no way, you're out of your mind. Like, get out of here. My friend Hammer goes, what's the action? So I say, here's the action. You got to give me some odds because they got to win 3 in a row right here against the Caps who were like dominating. So I was like, if I lose, I'll buy you a jersey customized with whatever you want on it, whatever you want. If I win, I get a jersey customized, and you got to bring me to a Ducks Rangers game when they come into town next season. Done. No, the next Rangers Ducks game, which was close to them being in the Stanley Cup together. So anyway, we were freaking out about that. Regardless, so the Rangers come back and win, and I'm just like, I started going online and calling myself Jesus because I could predict the future, and I was just joking around, but I won this bet. So we were gonna cash in next season when the Rangers played the Ducks in Anaheim. So like a year goes by, and I said I want a Team Sweden jersey, and I was like, I wanted a 2X, and he's like, why a 2X? It's gonna be huge. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna wear it. Most of the jerseys I own, I don't wear. I was like, I'm not gonna wear it. That's something I want to keep, and one day hopefully get signed by Lundqvist. He's like, okay, I'll get it. Buys the jersey, hits up the dude from We Bleed Blue, and goes, this is behind my back. He goes, I need your help. He's like, I need this jersey signed by Hank. And he goes, okay, ships him the jersey. One day he gets a call, yo, I'm here with Hank. What's up? What do you want me to do? He goes, okay, say to Tom, you have a gambling problem. Henrik Lundqvist. So, and Hank goes, he's like, I can't write that. Like, what else? Like, what does he do? He's like, oh, he's in a band. Great, what's his band? Straight from the Path. He goes, perfect. He goes, to Tom, don't stray from the path, Henrik Lundqvist. So, and then in the bet, he also owed me from another thing where he had to give me $50, and he gave me a bunch of Violent Gentlemen stuff, so he gave it to me in a box. And he has it on video where he's revealing it. So he has me filmed. I'm like, oh, what's up? It's Tom from Straight from the Path. Like, here's the bet. I told him the bet. And he's like, yeah, then I'm pulling up stuff like, oh, this Violent Gentleman shirt, blah, blah, blah. Then I get to the jersey, and I'm like, and this is the jersey I want. I look, and I just go, I'm screaming in the parking lot because I see it's personalized, and I just saw that he went and did that, and that meant a lot to me, and I was shocked. It was like, to this day, the nicest thing anyone's ever got for me. I'll pull up a picture of it. So, yeah. So I have this personalized Team Sweden Lundqvist jersey from him. Then I go, and I think we're sitting like up nosebleed, whatever. He got a suite through like his friend. So we're in this like sick suite with like a bunch of my other friends and stuff. It was like the greatest thing ever. Then I'm sitting there, I'm watching the game. The Rangers are killing them. It was great. It was like 4-1. And then my friend goes like this. Hammer taps me. I'm like, what? I look up, and Teemu Solani's in the thing. So I'm like, get out. I was like, no way. I was like, I don't like bothering people, but that's Teemu Solani. I'm gonna say something. So I go up to Teemu, and I'm wearing a Rangers jersey, and I was like, look, bud, I was like, I know I'm not wearing the right colors here, but I literally think you're the sickest, and I would love a picture. He goes, it's okay. And he comes in, he takes a picture. Here's a Lundqvist jersey. Nice. And like there, it says, to Tom, don't stray from the path, and then Henrik Lundqvist on it.
That's really cool.
So it was the greatest thing ever. It's framed that. It's in my house. But Lundqvist, man, like, the Rangers were really rough, and I loved the idea that he was a 7th-round pick. And I even remember him starting, and I'm like, who's this guy? Like, you know, I couldn't even say his name. And that was when Yager came, and, like, it was Straka and Nylander, and it was, like, really sick. And, I mean, that dude made the Rangers a team again. You know, he put them on the map.
So one thing we debated on the MSG Hockey Show, I want to get your thoughts on this too, as a big Rangers fan. We did a topic about Rangers Mount Rushmores, right? And to me, Henrik Lundqvist is on the cusp. I think that if anyone debated Lundqvist being in the Mount Rushmore today, because I think a lot of people have recency bias, right? Like the first 3 Stanley Cups for the Rangers is so far behind that people don't even talk about them anymore.
They just don't count.
94 is basically
one.
They pick they pick 4 players from the 94 team, whoever the 4 best players are: Richter, Graves, Messier, and then Leach.
Yeah.
And that's what people unanimously essentially say they're. And maybe some people will debate a Bathgate or a Gilbert.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
that's behind me.
To me,
I don't know.
okay. But to me, and tell me what you think about this. You could debate Lundqvist being on that Mount Rushmore for everything he does on and off the ice. Yeah. If he is to win a Stanley Cup with the Rangers, I think it's automatic.
I think if he wins a cup with the Rangers, he's above Messier.
He's above Messier.
For sure. So
due to longevity,
Here's why I love Messier.
Okay.
Is because that dude won 4 cups with Gretzky. Gretzky bounced. And then everyone's like, he ain't going to win, he ain't going to win. Guy wins it without him. Then 2 years later, wins it with him again. Without him again. And I'm like, that dude is the greatest. I love Messier. However, the guy had Leach, he had Richter, he had Graves, he had Tikkanen, Anderson, Larmer, Kovalev, Zubov, Bukaboom. Lundqvist has never had any of them. Never. And I love Rick Nash. I love McDonough. But Nash is not, Graves. Maybe Kreider is close to Graves because he's gritty or whatever. But he never had a Zubov. He never had a Leach or a Bukaboom. Or, he's got people in between like a Doug Lidster and, Bukaboom. Like, McDonough's amazing. I love Brady Shea. He never had that. But they got to the final on his back. They are a team to mess with because of him. Messier had Brian Leach. You know what I mean? Like, one of the greatest ever. He doesn't have that. So, Lundqvist, and he obliterated Mike Richter's record. Obliterated it. You know what I mean? So, and it's so hard to talk bad about Mike Richter, but Lundqvist is in front of him. Plus, Lundqvist's Rushmore face would look a lot better than Richter's.
Lundqvist's got that model like quality.
He does. But that's what's cool about him. He's like, because no one's like that.
Yeah.
He's just such a his presence when he walks in. He was a 7th round pick. Like, he had to prove himself and then won the city. And that's why when people turn on him now because he has a couple soft games. I mean, the guy's stats are still out of control. Like, people would pay millions for that, but it's like he still has 33 wins. You need to win it off of him, and
for what he does on and off the ice, I would put him in the Mount Rushmore.
No doubt, Hall of Famer, done. If he could stop playing today, he's in.
You mentioned Brady Shea. A lot of people are saying that he's going to be. In a few years, he can be the number 1 defenseman for the
He for sure will be. I mean, I think McDonough will be there for the long haul. Yeah. Like, I can't see him playing for another team. But, I mean, Brady Shea is phenomenal. I really want him to bring back Brendan Smith. I think Shattenkirk will be a thing, hopefully. Yeah, Brady Shea, man, he's got the transition. Like, he could get out of the zone by carrying it out, not just by, dumping and icing it, But I love Brady Shea. I think he's great.
So when you're on tour, do you make... especially during the hockey season, do you ever go to games on the road or try and make time if it coordinates with the schedule?
Yeah, I go to a lot of Columbus games because they're cheap and the venue we always play is walkable. So even if I go for a period or 2, I could just leave and go. I've been to Tampa, which was cool because the guy who runs the Tampa Twitter Stray, so he kind of hooks that up. Cool. What else? I mean, I go to Kings and Ducks games a lot.
I know a lot of wrestlers at the Lightning games do the social media ambassador thing. Do you do that as well?
I didn't know that, but that's cool though. It makes sense.
I know
guess.
Christian's done that.
Oh, cool.
He's taken over the social media account for a game or whatever.
That makes sense.
Maybe that'll be you soon.
Yeah, I would love that. I forget what else I've done. I went to the World Cup of Hockey. I went to USA versus Europe in Toronto. Oh, that was really cool. I've definitely done it. I do it as much as I can. Yesterday, so they added yesterday's show, but they had Rangers Penguins at the Garden, and when they announced the tour, I was like, we got 2 days off. They're playing the Pens. Who's in? And everyone was down. So I was like, all right, sick. And then they announced the show. I was like, no, Sidney Crosby at the Garden. Come on. It broke, and the game was so good too.
So let's talk about your music a little bit, man.
Sure.
I mean, how did you get into music? How did you discover music?
I was big into sports as a kid, and then I found Rage Against the Machine, and it was just over. Like, I just fell in love with that, and like, I don't know what. I mean, I had I guess when Stray was like a local band, we had 2 guitar players, and still, a close friend of mine that was that original guitar player taught me like everything I know about playing guitar, and I just fell in love with it. And then, I don't know, playing shows and then like seeing people come out for your band, it's addicting. When you're like, wow, if these people like it, I wonder how many other people would like it. And then it's like, we just got to do cool things, and then after years of doing it, still the fun didn't wear off, and then we started getting paid for it, and I was like, and then I've been to like 40 countries now, and like,
wow,
and it's like, wow, okay, now even America, which was all we did, is like our least market, like it's like the worst. I don't want to say it's bad, but it's like England and Europe and Australia and Canada are like sick, you know what I mean? And it's like,
why do you think that is? Is it just supply and demand kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like if I heard of a band from Sweden playing LA, I'm like, I have to go because I don't know when they're going to be back, and everyone goes. And the same thing with America.
So of those 40 countries, what was the most interesting experience you've had around the world?
Japan.
Japan.
We just went in February, and it's like the weirdest thing ever. And do you ever watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia? The show?
I never watched the show, but I know.
Okay, well so those guys, we always joke about how we're so similar to them. And there's this thing where they go to the suburbs, and 2 of the characters, like, they have this like neighbor come up who's all friendly, and they're used to living in the city. And the guy's like, "Hey guys, how are you?" Like, "My name's Wally," and they just look at him. They don't even say anything because they're like, "What's this guy up to? Like, what's he gonna do?" So we're in Japan, and this guy walks up to us. He goes, "You're Americans," and we're like, "Yeah, what's up with you?" Like, "Yeah, what about it, huh?" Like, because people outside of America don't like Americans sometimes, So we're like, "Yeah, so what? What's it to you?" Like, we're getting all like got edges on us and stuff, And he's just like, "Oh, I just want to say have a great time in Japan." And I'm like, "Okay, bro." And then he just like walks on. We're like, "What was that about?" It's like such a Always Sunny thing. If you knew the show, maybe you'd understand. But it's just weird. They appreciate it so much. They're very polite. So like, in between songs, people are talking, yelling stuff at us or whatever. And then like in Japan, clap, silent. And then we're just up there talking to a dead silent room. And it's just like, because they're just polite. That's just what they learn, manners in school and stuff, But it was just wild. And I love sushi, so I was like eating that like crazy, seeing all like it's just because I've been to Germany a million times. I've been to England and Australia a million times. Going there was like, whoa, this is nuts. You know what I mean? Like, this is totally different. So that was cool. And the show was awesome. So it's like, that's why like we love playing international now. And then we find out that we're like apparently huge in India, like out of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah, like we get hit
Have
up
you
by
played there?
No, not yet, but we're gonna, because we had no clue. And then out of nowhere, I get an email from Rolling Stone, and I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, like you guys are like really popular in India, so we want to put you in our India Rolling Stone issue. I'm like, that's okay. So a guy from India calls me at like 3 p.m. and we're just talking, and he's like, oh, so when you guys exploded in your 2013 release, I was like, exploded? We sold like 1,000 copies in America of that record. So it's just like funny, like now we're gonna go. Like we're like, okay, I guess we're going to India now.
That
so.
reminds me, did you ever watch, was it Searching for Sugar Man? Did you ever
Yeah,
see the documentary?
I love that.
The guy doesn't
I wonder if
huge in South Africa.
And he just goes there, plays like 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah,
and he
so
was
cool.
a construction worker for like 20 years.
Yeah, in like
Gave up
Detroit,
music.
like living in a shack, and then they go and they find him. He's like, yo, you're legitimately enormous there. And he's like, okay. He's like, so
Wow.
what? He's like, go play the shows. And he shows up and he's just like, I can't even believe this.
He's the Beatles.
Yeah, he's like, he's straight up like bigger than Elvis. And he's like blown away by it. I love that documentary. Really, really cool. So I don't know if it's going to be like that, but because huge to them, I don't know what their metal hardcore scene is. Huge, maybe 300 people, which is to me huge in India, but it could be 3,000. I have no idea. No clue.
What's it like to be, how long has this been your primary profession? Like you didn't have a side gig?
Oh, forever.
Forever.
I mean,
you guys started in 2001?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like talking about it much publicly, but I'll say, I mean, I started the band when I was 14. I mean, I'm the only person in the band from when I started at 14. It really got to be like the full-time job thing when Drew, our singer, joined in like 2006, 7. So when he joined, that's like when it kind of became a thing. So 2007, 2008, so almost 10 years. And then, but back then, like I did like lots of odd job stuff. Like I used to deal in like poker rooms. Like I used to be a dealer.
Oh, wow.
And I made like a sick amount of money from that. And like I just funded the band on it. Like I would work 2-3 times a week, and I'd make $1,000 every week, which at the time was a lot of money. So anytime, we got equipment, got it. Okay, we need a van, got it. We need gas money, got it. I just funded it. So literally just kept dumping money in it just because I wanted to do it. And then it turned out to be fun. And then, I mean, the band taught me more than school ever has. I haven't gone to college. I mean, I went to like a class or two, and then I was like, nah, but just because my dad wanted me to, but
School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, honestly, that
life.
like it's like I learned, and now he for sure understands like what I've learned on the road and interacting with promoters or even yourself is invaluable, and I've been able to roll that into a second career. Like I own a record label with a friend, and I do managing bands as well, and I manage Stray myself, and I just like.
Oh, so you're doing all the dealings behind the scenes. Oh, wow.
I always have. I mean, we've had a couple managers in the back, but in the past, just because we were still young and we were just hoping for people to kind of give us a hand, and the only thing they ever did was send us a bill, and we were just like, get out of here, like you didn't do nothing, and then the whole time they're doing this stuff, I was like, I could do this, like I do this stuff, so then I just do it now, and then I rolled that, and now I work for other bands, and again I do the label thing, and hopefully put the knowledge I've learned from the band into them, and sometimes it's not for everybody, because what I did was I literally, like, to me, I'm like, everyone now is like on the internet and paying for social boosting stuff, and I'm just like, look, the way that you get fans is organically by touring. You know who toured? Everyone in the history of the world, from the Beatles to Stray from the Path. Playing shows is the best thing to do, but everyone just wants to like make a video and just put it on the internet and just hope for the best. And I'm just so I sometimes go to bands and they're like, yeah, we want to go with this marketing and publicist and blah, and I'm like, look, get in the van and go play shows. And some people don't want to because it's too hard. It is really, really hard thing to do. I have a wife at home that has to take care of my 2 dogs and stuff like that. Anthony, our bass player, has a girlfriend that is alone a lot. Our drummer Craig lives in England. He has like a fiance he's about to get married to, and like we all leave that behind because of this, and it's like. It's not easy, so a lot of people don't want to put that work in, but we're like, that's the only way it works in my opinion. So like the Beatles got big by doing that, by touring.
Right. Take me into that, because you have a wife now, like you said, like compare touring with a wife and potentially a family at home versus when you're a single guy.
Oh, well, I don't know, because I've never done it, because again, we've been together since I was 17 in high school. Okay. So like I've never toured single ever. We never even take a break or break up. Like, we've never split. Wow. So I'm just like...
So what's the key? What's the key to a healthy relationship while you're on the road all the time? Do you guys FaceTime a lot?
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, she's really busy now. But back in the day, it was just tough. And she just had to know that, like, I was the one. And, like, we were meant for each other. And that's what we literally believe and know that, like, we are, like, soulmates, and, like, we get each other's back. And because here's the thing, I'm never alone in my life, ever. I'm either with my guys, or I'm with my wife, or I'm with my friends. But like sometimes now she works at a job where she goes away, and like so I'll be home and she leaves for the weekend. The first day it's cool, I'm just like whatever. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, what do I do? And then I'm like, she was just alone for 8 weeks. It's tough, and she does it. I mean, she's probably used to it now, but like. I like give her all the credit in the world, because it's not easy to be alone for that long. But she just stuck behind me, man. She just knew that I loved it like more than life itself. So I think she knew that I was good at it, and she knew that the band was good and it would get there. And sometimes she has her moments where she'd call and be like, "This sucks," and I gotta talk to her and it's sorry, it's cool. Like, thanks for supporting me, and it's good, I don't know. I give her all the credit in the world. I don't know how she did it. I don't know what the secret is. It's just have a great wife. Have a great person to do it for you,
So since you've been traveling and you've been on the road for so many years, what are some of your must-haves on the road?
Well, it's as of recent, I just got a Nintendo Switch, and I'm not even a video game guy, but I really like Metal Gear Solid, I like Zelda, I like Resident Evil, I like FIFA, and I like NHL. That's all I play. So this new Zelda game came out, I got a Switch. I mean, I have my headphones, honestly, a lot of the time I'm working, like, because again I do all that stuff, so there's always something going on. Stray's doing a new album soon, so I'm like working that. One of my other bands that I'm working for is on the road, and it's just like, their trailer broke down last night, and I'm like dealing with that stuff, and it's, coordinating hotels and traveling and border stuff, and it's a lot. So like honestly,
so you're working a lot on the road,
dude, all the time. And Saturday and Sundays are the days where I get to stare out the window and listen to whatever record I want to listen to, or go and have fun with my guys or whatever. And but must-haves and stuff, I mean, just music, computer. I take 3 hockey jerseys with me every time.
Just really?
Yep. I have a Duncan Keith, I have a Jimmy Vesey, and I have a Carl Hagelin Penguins in my bag right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to put them on. That's it. So it's weird to say, but that's just what I do.
So you mentioned there's a new album coming out.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes and also creatively, like, how does that process work?
Here's what's great about it. Besides the record that's about to come out, most of the records I wrote almost all of it. Like I'd write songs on my own, I bring it to my guys. Sometimes they change a little bit with some of their input, but a lot of times it was just me writing at home, and then all right guys, here's the song, and then they either have something to say or they don't, and it's a song. This record now, we have our new drummer Craig. He's been in the band for like 13, 14 months now, and he was like I wrote like this. I approached it the same way, wrote a bunch of stuff at home, then we all got together to play. And then I used almost none of it, and we just like made up stuff on the go, and like we're just jamming and like organic, and everyone was involved. And this is the first album, in my opinion, ever that was a group effort. And so this one has been really fun. It comes out in September as of now. We don't know the exact date, but it's good, man. The being in the band's fun. Like our new drummer is. He's changed the dynamic a lot, and it's good. So it definitely, I don't want to say he saved the band because I never thought we were in trouble, but like sometimes it feels like work, like where I'm at home and I'm just like, all right, I gotta go on a plane to Frankfurt, from LA. That's 12 hours. I don't want to do that, but now it's like I can't wait to see my guys again, like this is us. We've been on the road since February 1st, where we did Japan, flew right into the studio, right into this tour, and so that's February 1st to April 7th of straight work. And I don't want to kill anybody. So it's good.
It's good to have that rapport,
It
right?
is, yeah.
So then I guess when the album comes out in the fall, you'll have a tour to support it. And
Yep.
So that's you behind the scenes organizing all that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, man.
It is, yeah. We have a booking agent, we have a record label, so they all help, but coordinating them to make sure everyone's on the page and make sure we're doing what we want to do. But I like to plan way ahead. Like right now, like we're booked into March of 2018, so almost a year ahead, where we just know exactly what's going on. So there's no surprises, so we know what's coming up. I know when I have to work on certain things. Like right now it's April 1st and I'm working on a tour that starts September 10th. So it's like, and then after that one's done, I work on one that starts October 4th to November 4th, and then that's done, and I work on one that starts January, February, and you just kind of space your stuff out.
Cool, man. Well, continued success and good luck with the new album. I hope it's a home run.
Me too.
And sells millions of copies.
I'll take thousands. We'll call it thousands. And we'll
Actually, one last thing for you. Have you ever heard your music at a sporting event? Is that like you're hoping?
Dream for that.
Yeah.
And one day, I've always wanted to just hear the Rangers come out to one of my songs at a warm-ups. I would kill for that. I would take hearing one of my songs like in between or like a power play thing or whatever. Because they always play Rage Against the Machine or like Pearl Jam or Bush or something or The Hives, and I'm like, you could throw one of ours in there, like it works. No, I know they would listen to it at MSG because every time they're on a power play, it's one of 4 Rage Against the Machine songs. Every power play, Bulls on Parade or Freedom or Wake Up, they always play it. And I always hear it, I'm like, that dude loves Rage, just give him my record, because I think he would like it. And there's so many songs where I hear it, like one of our songs of like I could just see them taking the ice to that, and like that would be the best thing that ever happened. I would love that.
So there you have it, a great conversation with Thomas Williams of Stray from the Path. Definitely check them out online, find them on Twitter, and go see them on tour. Go check out shows, guys, because like Thomas said, that's the way that bands grow their fan base, and that's how they make their money, and that's how they increase their awareness. Just check out some shows and check out some great music. If you're a metalhead like me, check out Stray from the Path. Whatever genre of music you enjoy, just find some up-and-coming acts, or even some acts that are on the cusp, that are doing it full time, that are touring, that are getting into a van and just driving from city to city, making towns. You know? There's a certain allure, there's a certain romance to that. I really appreciate it. And I give people respect who decide to choose that kind of life. I really respect the grind and the hustle that they put in to their creativity and their profession. Particularly Tom, because he's not only doing stuff on stage, but he's doing all of that work behind the scenes. I find that super impressive. So shout out to Stray from the Path. I enjoy the music very much. Yeah, it was a fun chat. So we'll be back next Wednesday. And by the way, every Monday on msgnetworks.com, I have a blog, Arda's Words on a Blog. Congratulations to NHL 94, your Ice Madness champion. You, through your votes, have crowned NHL 94 to be the greatest retro ice hockey game ever. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to NHL 94. And every Monday on that blog, we will announce who the podcast guest on Wednesday will be, which is very exciting. So thank you very much for checking this out. Like every single Wednesday, it is the A-Pod on iTunes and msgnetworks.com. And have a great week, everyone.